So, I have a bit of a problem with YouTube, and I thought I would come here and tell you about it a bit more. See, I feel like I've always wanted to be a YouTuber of some form. I wanted to talk about my experiences, try to have people empathize with me, maybe even teach them something that I'm into, a hobby or something, could be something cool to learn about, things like that. I've always thought, wow, there must be like so much we could like talk about or like I could make a video on. But the problem with that was YouTube has changed. It's no longer about an idea per se. It's about appealing an idea to a group of people and hoping that it's good enough for them and that it will get you engagement for your channel. And if you don't do that, if you don't appeal to a very specific tag or trend or something that people are searching for, you lose the context. You lose you. You lose the you. It no longer becomes a YouTube, it becomes a them tube. And, the thing is, people like me, for example, we have this issue where our them tube, you could say. Well, if you can't tell already, I'm trans. So what this means is my content is already very limited because, imagine there's a great pool of whatever. And in this pool, okay, let's not do a pool example. Let's do boxes. Okay, boxes. So imagine you are this box. You can only be in this box, okay? And if you step outside that boundary of that box, suddenly you are in unfriendly territory. And being a trans person on this platform limits you severely. You can't participate in your hobbies without people trying to cause issues for you just for existing in such spaces. And it doesn't matter how much you've transitioned, doesn't matter what you look like per se. What matters to them is that you're a target, and because of that, you are not allowed to participate in your hobby unless maybe you make like an alternate account or something. So that's the problem with my YouTube experience, is that I cannot participate within certain hobbies or interests I have because these people are connecting to those interests for that very specific interest, yet people that are still outside the boundary of whatever, and perhaps this hobby or interest might have that niche to it. So these people like to gatekeep you from those experiences. And for me, I've been through that quite a lot myself. I've always struggled with being able to connect to a hobby and things like in or out of YouTube, or like the idea of even being able to publish something discussing my hobbies and that, we go back to the box example. I'm a person working within a box. The box, first one being I'm trans. Okay. So I can't connect with the whole outside world because there are people that do not accept that. And if I give them that vulnerability, they will put me back in that box. Okay. And then we have people on top of that. There's a context to trans people, and I'm sure you can guess what it is. It's that context, objectification. We have that quite a lot. And we have people who objectify us, but are also attracted to us for some reason. It's like the bridge of love and hate, except, in that version. So you have that. So we're extra excluded because of that. And then in my case, because there's another box within that box, okay? So because I'm a trans woman, that's another box within a box of things I could potentially do where I would be able to express myself freely. This is a thing that I've noticed YouTube lacks in some regards, but it's also a symptom of poor cultural reception around the world, you see, of people not being able to understand those that are transitioning and trying to live closer to the person that they are more comfortable with being, working towards, or wanting. No, I shouldn't say want. Want is a trap word. I would say this is more of a need, because without it, it's hard to survive. And currently, this box is getting even tinier because we have this thing called like political situations. It's like literally our rights are being taken away day by day after we've been granted them. And it's like, can you imagine investing into your life? Okay, you're working a job, you're investing your money into your retirement. Okay, imagine you're putting money into it year by year, working towards that, and then suddenly somebody says, no, you don't get your retirement fund. And it's not even like you were even close to that retirement. So you're just like, wait, what the heck? What can I do? So while your opportunities have decreased suddenly, the thing that you were working towards is suddenly pulled from you. And that's where people like me are right now. Our opportunity has been taken from us. Something that we were given, then taken back from. It's like a parent scolding a child for something. It's inappropriate because, like, we are adults. We have the right to exercise our choice in this matter, and it's not your business. Yet, this political situation has made it their business because it serves as a beautiful distraction piece, because who is going to defend some people like us? Nobody. Absolutely nobody's going to defend us because it's inconvenient and we're already within like so many boxes of layers between us and the outside world that they don't want to even bother getting involved with that. Most people that are connecting to us, they get stuck on the objectifying box. They don't go any deeper into the layers of the boxes, or you could call it an onion of sorts. It's just like nobody wants to get deeper than that. They don't want to understand any more than that. So we're left with this weird situation where we have this situation where we are so secluded by all these layers that who the hell are we talking with but maybe ourselves? Maybe somebody has empathy enough to look past these things to be able to hang out with us. But what kind of things can we talk about that only a certain, very small amount of people would want to talk about? And that's the thing. This is what I call the transtubing principle. We are so minimized in what we can express on here. In an already very saturated platform where people farm everything they can possibly, potentially, with channel themes about specific things, they min-max by choosing a specific, very, very specific things. And, with an already saturated YouTube out there, within our tiny boxes, it's there, but there's nobody looking for us. The only people that are looking for us have either bad intentions or they are us. Or there's a smaller percent of population that could be allies. But it takes a lot for them to get there, I'm going to say, because apparently empathy is now another box within that political box, because being able to empathize with people is apparently a trait that isn't exactly as common as it used to be, you could say. So, where this leaves us is we have this situation where we can't really get outside of our boxes because It's too seclusive. We are pushed out of communities because of just who we are and what we are aiming for. Something that a person that doesn't experience these feelings, that doesn't go to therapy for these feelings, that doesn't get this kind of sentiment, this help or anything, they can't even begin to relate to that. So it's easier just to antagonize it and not do anything with it, or not even be interested in connecting in any form. That's why it's very easy for people to say, oh, it's okay if you lost the right to be able to choose your what do they call it? Your, not even gender. They said sex or something. I don't know. Like, it's ridiculous, because it's like, because these people lack the compassion to even like think about, oh, what would that be like, where I lose the right to be able to do this, or they're like, oh, I voted for this, but like I just wanted them not in sports or something, but now what's going on? I didn't vote for this part. So I can understand there's a lot of confusion from whoever might be listening to this. And that's okay, because you're listening now, and that's really important. The most important thing you can do with empathy is to listen. And to help me define my tube, okay? I don't want to be somebody working within a box of a box of a box. I want to be able to connect to a larger amount of people. Don't look for people like me that want to expand their ability to process things around them and think, wait a second, by me supporting these kind of people, listening to these people for hundreds of hours that may say 10 or 12 things that might be against kind of people like me, is it actually okay? Sure, you can listen to like 10 hours of someone's podcast and maybe catch them once or twice, but that's enough, because it's about acclimating people to a person like me in either a negative or positive context. And the truth is, there is no positive context for people like me that isn't short-lived in that kind of content, if you're following me. That's way too short-lived, and that's not enough time to get to, or even want to get to know somebody like me. It's not possible. So we're left with a very little amount of ways to connect to these people who are forming opinions because they're listening to these people who are connecting to them. And their explanations are counter to us simply just wanting to live, just exist. Do you see the issue here? The true issue is that we are being targeted in such a way that we can't reach to the outside world, but you all can go closer to our world if you want and get stuck on one layer without wanting to get deeper past the objectification, past all these things that have stacked up here towards the real meat and bones of it, which is we are people. Do you understand? We are people that are living. We have feelings. We are doing everything we can to survive just like you. And because you are so fixated on these issues that they haven't even addressed, mind you, these issues that are probably over-exaggerated if you were to actually go on Google and type it in and figure it out by yourself. But a lot of you get so distracted by what someone's telling you in those 10-hour podcasts where they just talk for days and days about junk stuff and then slip that in so that they can eventually make you start thinking like them. It's literally brainwashing. That right there, that's brainwashing. me reaching out to you, perhaps it's also a little like that, but I'm trying to speak from empathy. What they're speaking from is just being an asshole. Pure and simple. Empathy or asshole. What do you like more? Perhaps you might like this one more because it seems cooler. It's okay. I kind of get that. There's girls out there that go for these kind of people. I get that. And these empathy people, yeah, we don't need them, right? Yeah, that's a shift in cultural things over the years. And it's a little sad, but that is where we are at with things. It's easy. It's more fun to listen to the asshole. I get that. But I'm telling you, you have it wrong in some ways. Because you are not an asshole if you're listening this long. I think you might actually be a hero or heroine. I don't know what you are. And you're also thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. We can't, like, my people can't express themselves on these platforms because we have such a limited space to work within. And you wonder, what were the purposes for these, like, moderation regulations on these sites? I'll tell you, it was so that we could have a chance to speak. Because we are so tightly bound inside our little box that the idea of us even being able to escape some of it so we can just speak is a miss. And imagine if you also were some form of a group or minority or whatever, where your opinion was that small. It doesn't really sit right with you, does it? And a lot of people like to say it's for attention, but like, we don't get much attention, and the attention we get is always opposite of what we as humans want, which is just to be allowed to exist and just pursue the dream of life. I think if we were to break down all of this, it starts with just we have an issue and we have to solve it. But another thing is that we are the YouTube. The YouTube is minimized these days because podcasts and like overzealous, over exaggerated films, they don't hit on the person. And we, my community suffers that the most because we are forced, absolutely forced, to appeal to very specific keywords, very specific phrases, and we are not allowed any form to be able to exist outside of that in any way or shape or form. Because if we do, we don't get any say in the conversation, not even like a misogynistic kind of way. Just we have no say in the conversation at all. And if you wonder, why does DEA exist? Why, or DEI, whatever the frick you want to, yeah, just DEI, all right? It's because people lacked voice because of these things that we are not completely blessed by. Like somebody would be like in your position, perhaps. So, what I'm asking for is the ability to speak for myself outside of these boxes, to be able to connect to people that wouldn't otherwise look for my kind of content at all. Because I don't want to be known for that content. I just want to exist. I just want to pursue what I like. I don't need to do something, but I don't want to hide my face either. That's just bullcrap, honestly. Why should I have to hide my face and hide my identity when I just want a chance to speak for my things, what I'm into, that I want people to have a chance to connect to me for and be able to form a connection to me on those things? Do you see the problem here? That's why those things exist. It's like DEI, all these other things. They exist to give people a chance to be able to equally give back to the conversation. And I really want that myself too. I hope one day I will be able to have that opportunity. I don't know if it'll be this video, the next video, or something. Maybe never at all. But if I do nothing, then of course the conversation will stay the same, because my people generally are very content with just abiding by this rule. They don't, we which is sad to say, like, as a generalization, but like, who the hell is speaking up for us right now? Doesn't seem like anybody in the government is. It doesn't seem like there's any companies doing that. Is there even anyone contesting this executive order? I don't think so. So, what does that mean? It means we need trans allies, but we also need, as an entity of trans, to work together so that we aren't alone, so that we are a stronger group, and so we aren't used as like this big distraction to hide whatever the hell they're trying to accomplish, which, if I had to guess, is just get more money. We're just a stepping stone, and they don't give a crap. And, equally, I think if you voted for that, you're going to find out that you are also a victim of this greed, because it's not for you. You might think it might be. You might think you could get something by following along their trail, trading stocks, trading crypto or something. But you're not going to get what you wanted, I think. In fact, you're just going to isolate yourself more from people around you by pursuing these kinds of immoral people, because what they are is going to rub off on you, and it already has. Last 3 years of unfiltered, unregulated moderation that previously protected people from these kinds of thought traps and propaganda things doesn't exist anymore. And, before you say, oh, you are propaganda, well, okay. Could be, could not be. But for me, it was my life. This is me. I can't help that. Believe me, I've tried. It's not an off switch. I've tried. If it was, my life would be so much easier. I wouldn't have to worry about this. I wouldn't have to make a video about this at all. But I have to. Because if I don't, no one's going to speak for me. Do you see the problem here? There's nobody speaking for me. And so someone like me that does what I do has to be the one speaking up for myself. Even though I didn't sign up for that, yet this retirement fund of social rights, you could say, that I was banking on by being able to just express myself and do this kind of lifestyle, I saved up for it. I worked my butt off. And yet, I'm getting it taken away just like that. Just before I could redeem it and cash in on what I've been working towards, I'm not able to anymore. I'm held back. I had to find out a way to do it, regardless of what's being taken from me. I have to just figure it out. And, that's the big thing I just want to teach you all about, is that's my life. That's life as a trans tuber, you could say. That's what it is now. And that wasn't what I signed up for. Because I chose to do this kind of self-expressionism because I didn't really have much of a choice. Like, I was obviously this kind of person before, but yeah. Anyways, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this now, but I imagine I'm gonna just go back on this and edit this. But yeah, oh my god. So yeah, I'm gonna think about this topic a little more, and then I'm gonna get back to it. Yeah, anyways, this is just a test. I don't know what people will think. They'll probably hate me, which is okay. I'm totally okay with being hated, because it was attention I didn't have before. So, point being, now that we've got past that, let's talk about the tubing thing. So, what do we do now? What do we do from here? Well, I don't know. The only way to break out of this cycle where you are in a box is by obviously stepping out of that box and taking a risk, which is what a lot of us are going to have to do, because like people are shutting their ears to people like us because they don't want to hear them. They don't want to empathize with them because their situation is just so bad that they just can't care for us, which is, I can get some of that, but once we start lacking the ability to understand that, oh, these people are getting really screwed over, and I think they're just participating in society, like they're just working and stuff, they're just doing their thing, and I could avoid them. But yet, we have to figure out how to work around this new situation. And yeah, that's the issue. Will I find the solution? Probably not. It's gonna take a lot of time. Anyways, I'm gonna end this for now. I don't know what we can do, honestly. But yeah, this is just a test.